Good afternoon, evening, morning, or indeed night, wherever you are in the world. So, here in front of me, I have a Madagascar dragon tree, also known as a Dracaena marginata. So, I got this tree, well, about 12 years ago, would you believe? 12 and a half thereabouts years ago. And care wise, I've repotted it every about 2 years into a bigger pot. Now, it's most definitely outgrown the pot that it's in. It's about, I would say, 4.5 to 5 foot tall. There are actually two plants in it. You'll see two stalks coming up from the soil in the bottom. So perhaps it would be a lot taller. I've known them to get to about 7 or 8 feet in that many years. So I'd say because the two plants are competing with each other for nutrients, they didn't quite grow as tall as they could have. However, it has been weighing on my mind for the last few months, especially. It's time to take this fellow apart. I'm going to separate the two plants, and then I'm going to do another interesting thing. I'm going to prune it, and I'm going to make numerous propagations from the stems of one of them. So let's see how it goes. So now, once we have decided which tree we're going to leave in the pot and which tree we're going to take out, repot, and use for propagating, we have to begin the separation process. So, gently, gently, we do our best because these have quite heavy root systems always, especially if you haven't repotted them for a year or two. You'll see the roots are always going to bundle up at the bottom. Let's see how these have. Okay, so a lot of dirt. We'll need the brush afterwards, but that's okay. So you'll see how this rooting system here has spiraled around the bottom. We want to be very careful with these because they are quite important. We're going to lose a few and damage a few during the cutting process. So apart from that, we want to be very, very delicate with them. I don't know how delicate I am being here, but I'm doing my best. So now it looks like a healthy plant. I really love this plant. It is very low maintenance. You can leave it for weeks. By accident, I would say leave it for weeks. And it will always come back. Always come back. I'm not entirely sure of the lifespan of these fellas, but they're very rewarding indoor house plant. Light temperatures around 15 to 20 degrees Celsius indoors. Of course, don't really like light, direct sunlight that is. They do well in a little bit of light, say half shade. So now what I'm doing here is I'm just scraping away the loose soil, getting down to the root systems and seeing where exactly they have established. So you'll see with these two, they have, I would say, very much so intertwined because they have been together for all their life that I've known them. I bought them about 12 years ago, but of course they could have been maybe 2 or 3 years old before that. So you're dealing with perhaps a 15-year-old plant here. Very, very intertwined indeed. Should have done this sooner, but I assume there are a lot of you out there who, like myself, just let them go to a stage where now it needs to be done. It just needs to be done. Okay, so see these big thick roots? They are going to be very established. So I'm going in and I'm trying to separate them like so. Little break there. Shame. Not to worry, not the end of the world. I'm trying to separate as much as I can with my hands before I get at it with the knife. You never know, if there is not too many deep roots intertwining from each plant, we might be able, just might be able to get away without taking the knife to it. And so far, I think that might be the case. The great thing about roots, same as the top of the plant, is they grow back, they recover. So if you trim leaves off a plant, or if you trim flowers off a plant, of course it'll recover. The same with the root system. I think we are in luck here, in that there are not too many roots of a heavy nature intertwined. And if I just do this, well, would you look at that? Voila! We are in business. We are laughing. Quite heavy root systems, quite heavy plants, which will lead us on to our next stage. Okay, so now it is time to introduce Mr. Secateurs. And we will do a little bit of chopping here and there. Now, I really do love these plants, and while it is almost hard for me, because they're living, breathing things, to cut them apart, I know that it's better for the plant that's left behind, and it gives new life to the plants that are coming, of course. Where I live, it's a temperate maritime climate, so it's also affected by the Gulf Stream. It's quite warm, but still quite humid, but still you cannot grow these outside. So it's only indoor in my little corner of northwest Europe. So now, if we look at the root system that is here, there's a lot of roots, quite a lot of roots. So there's a lot of energy stored in that roots. So we don't have to worry about the stub. When I cut off these tree stems, the stub will be fine. While it'll look awful for a couple of weeks, it'll grow. It has the power to grow and to shoot new shoots. So we just take them off like that, at a bit of an angle, like so. And that will go in a pot of its own. And the new shoots will come from somewhere in the stem. It'll look quite, what would you say, mature when it shoots the new shoots. And they'll be as vigorous as the other ones ever were. Now, we have 3 beautiful stems. So what are we going to do with these? Well, I'll show you what we're going to do with one of them. And then you can do the same for the others, of course. So it's quite leggy. It's another reason that I decided it's time to take action on this plant. Quite leggy, very thin and stringy. So we don't really want that over time as it was growing. So we're going to give these new life. Now, this is quite amazing, I believe. If we cut it, say, about here, okay, so just down from the leaves. We'll cut off a little few of the leaves near the bottom later, because when we pop it in the soil, we don't want too many leaves there, because then the energy will go towards growing those leaves as opposed to into the roots, where we want the energy to start a root system. So we'll cut it about, say, here. Okay, that will become a new plant. What we do is we take off from the bottom. So this is a Madagascar dragon tree, but all Dracaenas are very, very similar. So this method will work for all Dracaenas, not just this one. There's about 200 varieties, I believe. This is my favorite, the Madagascar one. And as I said earlier, very, very low maintenance. I mean, you can literally neglect it. In fact, sometimes they thrive on neglect. So, yeah, I've taken off a whole bunch of leaves there, but I've left a nice spread that will stay going. So, I'll show you what happens this just a little bit later. Now, the interesting part, this stem can grow an untold amount of plants. You could get 20 out of this if you wanted to. But the smaller you cut them, the more time it'll take for them to come back. And if you cut them too small altogether, they're not going to come back because there's not enough energy. So I recommend centimeter wise 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 6 centimeters there. So I'm going to cut this into strands like so. So now here we are, and what I've done is with the other stems I've snipped them the same, so I have quite a few of them. Be able to give them to family and friends when they're adequately propagated and growing strong. So I have 6, 12, 18, 22 of them, including the tree heads from the tree stems. So what I'm going to do with these is, first and foremost, I'm going to inspect them. So what we want to put is the bottom down, the biggest end. So here you'll see this side is the biggest. So we want to put that down in the soil because it'll give the root system a better chance at exposing itself. Now, it is at an angle, so we don't like that because it doesn't give each side a fair chance. So what we want to do is we want to just give that a little snip, like so. Now, bearing in mind, I've let these dry out. I've let them all dry out for about 2 hours. So the moisture is pretty much gone from them, which is what you want for the best conditions for rooting. Now, I like to use rooting powder. Not everybody does, but I have done it with and without. And with rooting powder, I've got a better root system and quicker results, which of course is good. So, give it a little shake, get the end, and pop it in the rooting powder, just like that. A little shake to get off the excess, because you don't want it going too far up along the sides. It will only increase the chance of rot. Now, what I have here is I have 4 pots that I have adequately watered, so they're nice and moist. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop this little stem sections in like this, just like that. So I'm going to do that for probably about 6 in each pot. Here we go, like that. It's always good just to make a little hole with your finger or a knife or whatever you want just beforehand, because if you have the rooting powder on the end of the stem, you push it in, it'll get rid of it. It'll be lost into the soil. Whereas if you make a little incision beforehand and pop the stem in with the rooting powder on it, then compact the soil around it, you'll get a much better chance. So here what we see is the net result of each pot. I have 6 of the raw stem particles around, and I have the top of the stem in the middle. So it's still quite aesthetic. It can still be used in the living area to impress guests or whatever. But hopefully in a couple of weeks, these will all have started shooting little buds out of here, which will grow into the stems themselves. Hoping for about 3 or 4 stems from each one of these cuttings, which is amazing when you think of it. Out of one plant, we could get 22 different plants. Such is gardening. So now here, after that process is finished, we have 22 potential plants. Here's hoping and good luck to them all. Of course, I also have the parent plant here, not forgetting about it, which I will put in a pot itself, and hopefully it'll do just as well. Look at them go. Look at them grow. The best of luck to all 22 of them. I'll be back very soon with a progress update. Here's hoping they take roots. And after a bit of repotting fun, here is the parent in its own pot. I think it will thrive. Not forgetting the other plant from the original pot. Here it is, standing tall, looking much cleaner than before in its own pot. And that is all today from Jungle Rooms, from all of us here. If there's anything you'd like to know, please just pop a comment below in the comment section. Until next time, Slán Lat.